Hi, and welcome to the VR Gaming Podcast, a podcast and commentary about VR gaming, VR news, VR hardware, and VR reviews. I'm your host, Nick Lane, and with me is Justin Davis. Justin, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey Nick, I am indexless, so I'm recording with some different stuff that may or may not work well, so we'll see what happens.
What's going on? Is your index broken, or?
So I've had issues with my left audio, like the that speaker that is
Yeah.
off of your ear. So for over a year, I think I've had the audio going in and out. Like sometimes when I play, if I turn a certain way, that I won't hear anything, and then I'll turn another way and it'll come back.
Yep.
And sometimes I play and it's fine.
Yep.
But I was talking to support for a long time, and they sent me a replacement speaker and told me to try all sorts of different stuff, and like it keeps happening. So, I talked to them again, and I was gonna, I'm out of warranty, way out of warranty, because I got a pre-order one, and they told me, even though you're out of warranty, we're gonna send you a new index.
Well, wow.
Yeah, but I had to send in my index before they'll send me the new ones. So now I'm
Okay.
just waiting for that.
Dude, I got to say that I've heard other similar good stories about Valve taking care of people who are out
Hmm.
of warranty.
Yeah.
And that's, I got to hand it to them. There's a lot of companies that wouldn't do that, and there's companies that would even give you a hard time with things in warranty. Sometimes it's a fight. I've had a couple issues. I've had my controller have the drift. I had a speaker issue as well, and they've been so quick to replace things. I mean, the
Hmm.
cable went bad or whatever, they replaced it like within a few days. It's been remarkable.
Yeah, it has. And it would be great if these issues never happened,
Yeah.
but at least, yeah, they take care of you.
Yeah, this is their first, piece of VR hardware. So I think, most reasonable people have an allowance for, things going wrong and not being
Hmm.
perfect. And they will have that allowance and tolerance as long as you take care of them. So Valve is doing that part correctly. And I hope they continue to make VR hardware because I think they crushed it with the Index. I love mine, and
Yeah.
that's a way to if you're going to be in the game and you're going to keep on making VR hardware, you got to take care of your customers because they're going to be the
Hmm.
ones who are passionate about purchasing the next iteration of what you're going to make, and then recommending it to people.
Yeah, supposedly Valve designed the HTC Vive, but then they handed it off to HTC to manufacture it. So then all the support
Yeah.
went to HTC, which isn't as good.
Yeah, and then they figured out let's just do it ourselves, and then
Yeah.
here we are today. Well,
Yeah.
this is episode 23. We're recording this on Tuesday, June 22nd, and we like to start off with kind of like our personal monthly recap. What do we do in the last month regarding our VR playing? And I know we're entering the summer, so maybe it slows down, maybe it doesn't. But I'm looking at your list, and I don't think it's slowed down too much. So what did you play? What are some games?
So there was this Steam Next Fest demo thing where you could download tons of different demos. It was like regular flat gaming and VR. But I tried 23 different VR demos that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to get through that as fast as I can.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Then Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife. Then Compound and Open Brush. Open Brush is on Steam. I think it's on like Oculus Store too, and it's free. It's Tilt Brush but free. And Tilt Brush went open source and it's no longer supported. So this is like a branch of Tilt Brush that I think has maybe some additional features, and it's free, and
Oh, nice.
it's still getting support. So don't buy Tilt Brush at this point. Tilt Brush is still $20.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right. Actually, you do have a shorter list than usual, but I guess we're gonna get to your. We'll talk about your next fest demos
Yeah.
because that's a long list. So hopefully there's
I'll go
something.
fast.
Hopefully there's something good in there. Maybe you
Mhm.
can help sort it out.
Okay.
So in the last month, I played some Thrill of the Fight, which that's an older game, man. We're gonna review that in this episode because we've never reviewed it, and it's one of my favorite games. But man, that game came out in 2016. It's been updated all along the way, and I think it's done being updated. But I played some of that. That's my favorite workout game, I would say, for VR. I played some more Blast On. They just had an update come out with a single player campaign. It seems I played like a little bit of it today. It seems pretty short, but hey, it's a nice free addition. I like that they keep on adding to that game. I do like that game. It sounds like you're gonna say something.
Is there an ending to like if is there like a last guy and you can beat the game?
Yeah, I mean, looks like there's 5 guys to fight from what I can tell. There's like 5
Mm-hmm.
parts to it. So what I did is I played against this guy, a computer AI, and then it's like, okay, give me a check mark for that, and then it's like go play the arcade game in like the disco lounge. So I went and played the arcade game, and then it said, okay, you completed step 1 out of, or level 1 out of 5 or whatever they're calling it, and then level 2 was fight a guy, and then I think I beat him. Then it's like, okay, go play like this arcade game or something and get a score of X amount. So that's where I'm at. I didn't do that yet.
What do you mean arcade game?
So they have I think they call it like the Orzo Lounge or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a bar and like a dance floor, and in the bar they have like a virtual arcade game to play. They must have a couple of them because I think I haven't played the second one yet.
It's a cabinet and you
Yeah.
interact with the cabinet?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And,
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're gonna find it amazingly fun. It's basically you have a gun and you're shooting like these kind of like Space Invader-esque guys kind of deal.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. They keep adding to the game. They keep on branching out from the core kind of multiplayer element. So I think Blast On is my favorite game so far this year that's come out, which is in some ways not saying much, but it's like a $9 game. And I've had a lot of fun with it, and I move around. You can work up a little bit of a sweat. You can just kind of get active, and I can kind of get lost in that game. So I think it's just a game that does VR quite well, and especially VR multiplayer. So highly recommend that game. We did a review a couple months ago. I went back and I tried to play Doom 3 BFG Fully Possessed, and this is again another one of my favorite games in VR, but I've kind of stopped playing it, and I reminded myself why I stopped playing it, because it just doesn't work well with the index. It doesn't work well with the key bindings. I don't know how to change it to get it to work right, but when I play it, what ends up happening is the stupid flashlight turns on and off every time you're using the joystick to move.
Oh my god.
And I can't figure out how to unbind that. And when I first started playing in that game, which I love, I mean, this is Doom 3 BFG that it has a VR mod on it, so it's band-aided on it. All right, when I first started playing the game like 2 years ago in the summer on my Samsung Odyssey, and I should have just worked on that, and I should have just played it through, because when I got the index, it just never worked right, and I was hoping that, okay, I'll wait, and maybe this will be updated, maybe there's a fix, and as far as I can tell, there's still not a fix, and it's super kind of janky in that, like, I feel like if you try fiddling around with it, you're just going to break it more. So it's just, it sucks because that game looks really good in VR, runs really good in VR. It's ironically like one of the best VR games. It's not a native VR game. It's a game that came out, the BFG editions from 2012. And the PlayStation got like a version, right? And didn't Quest get a version? But like,
Yeah, Quest got it.
yeah, we need the mod was developed a couple years ago, and I think they sort of abandoned it. Then somebody else kind of picked it up a little bit, but I don't even know if I downloaded like that updated version, if it even would fix my issue with the index, or I risk just completely breaking the game as it is because it's on life support. I mean, there's a bunch of jank to it, but man, when it was working and it works, it's so damn good, and this just makes me again really wish that these older games, these flat games that were really good games, were just, somebody threw some VR implementation on it. Hopefully the development company, right? Like, and I was looking at Borderlands 2 again the other day to see if they kind of fix some issues, and the reviews aren't good of it. But that's what I want to see, like bring these games into VR, because there's just a drought of like games of substance right now. A lot of games are kind of like, I don't want to call them tech demos. I don't think that's accurate, but they're like a snack, right? They're not like a full meal. So yeah, listen, if somebody's listening and they have a solution for me, I was in GitHub trying to figure it out and I couldn't. Feel free to message me on vrgamingpodcast@gmail.com. You'll be a hero because I really want to play through that game. I had Doom 3. I remember back in 2004 when it came out, and I never beat it. And now I'm stuck again, like in this purgatory. You see what I did there, and of just not being able to play through the game, and I really, really, really want to. I played a little Population 1 just to check it out because they're in like Season 2 now, just to see the updates, and they keep on updating that game. I like that game. I struggle to spend a lot of time with it anymore because I don't think the VR implementation is as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun enough. I mean, if I had friends who wanted to pop in, I probably could be lured in.
Did you see the Wild West stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So they added that. That's like the big update. They added a section of the map into kind of like a Wild West thematic thing. Just a section of the map. And it's fine. I mean, it's mostly aesthetics. They added kind of dual pistols into the game. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's still, I think, one of the best multiplayer games. It's the best battle royale game that's out there for VR. It still has people playing it. I think it's so successful, in that it's got a population still playing it. So we reviewed that, and I gave it a good review. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I'm still like, running into. And then I played some Compound, which we'll talk about in review later. So
Okay.
that was my month. Nothing really new and exciting. I'm kind of going back to older things.
Yeah.
And playing them. So, all right. Well, let's kick it out. Let's head on over to the news and talk about what's going on. I see you've got a bunch of bullet points there, and I'll jump in on some of these topics.
Okay, so there was a Bloomberg report. It was like citing like some anonymous sources again that PSVR 2 will release in holiday 2022, which is what I suspected because, console releases usually are holidays, especially Sony's. And it's going to have an OLED display supposedly, whereas every other headset is going with LED, they're going with OLED. And the PSVR, the original, was an OLED also. That was a RGB stripe OLED, so it sounds like they're going with the same type of thing. And I'm concerned a little bit about that because I don't like PSVR's display because its screen door effect is minimal because it's an RGB stripe, even though it's a low res screen, but it has bad Mura, which is unevenly lit pixels. So like you could see like a brown pixel and then next to it is a lighter brown pixel and then next to that is like a darker brown pixel. So like when you're moving your head, it's really noticeable for me in my headset at least that there's something wrong with the screen. And I've heard other people talk about the same issue. So I hope they fix that by PSVR 2. And you're not going to buy a PSVR 2 probably, so
No,
it doesn't matter to you.
I'm not worried. And man, we're still a year and a half away from that even coming out. And the original PSVR came out in 2016, so a 6-year gap.
Yeah.
Between these. And the thing with VR, it seems to, they're updating the hardware every couple of years. I think we're almost every 2 or 3 years we're seeing a hardware refresh in VR in general. So that's a big gap for PSVR. But again, kudos to them for being a console and bringing VR to console players because there's a lot of console players, and Xbox continues to drop the ball on that.
Yeah. So the next thing is a pretty big release was Larcenauts, and it released on the Oculus Store and Steam. And originally everyone thought it was going to be every headset was going to be compatible with it, but it ended up only being Oculus compatible. So it's at 54% on Steam right now because all these people are complaining and just giving it negative reviews. Because even though on the Steam store it says Oculus is the only headset listed, they're giving it negative reviews because they have Index or Vive or whatever. And there's some issues where it launched with this weird sprint where when you sprint, your gun goes away, it disappears, and you see like your arms in the game are like just like going back and forth like you're running. And I don't know. I guess that's really immersion breaking for people. And then it's button reload. There aren't manual reloads, and there's no two-handed aiming. That's the craziest thing to me. So you can grab some of the rifles with two hands, but you can only aim with the rear hand, which is really bizarre.
Weird. Have you played this game?
No, I haven't played it. I'm just going by everything I've heard.
Yeah. I've also heard, and you can maybe confirm this, that this game came out 2 months early. It's supposed to come out in August or something.
I'm not sure what it came out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't expected to come out this soon.
That's bizarre, right?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
who hears of games coming out earlier, like just kind of out of
Yeah.
nowhere? Usually things get delayed.
Yeah, and especially when they have all these issues. And the reason it's Oculus only is they say there's some Steam VR issue with like non-Oculus headsets that they're experiencing that they're trying to fix. Well, just delay it then.
Exactly. I mean, like you and I were kind of talking about this, going back and forth in messaging about it.
Yeah.
People review bombing it, and I, you're like, well, why can't these people read that it's Oculus? And I get it. I've never purchased a game that was Oculus only. Like I sort of assume that if it's on Steam, that it's going to work with the index, right? Like I look at reviews to see if there's any issues like with the index, especially like, a year or two ago, right, when the index was new. But it's really bizarre for them to put it on Steam without it being compatible with like the Vive and the index and all, and just working on Oculus. Like, maybe people shouldn't review bomb it if they say, look, it just works on the Oculus. But I get it. At the same time, I mean, like they just kind of screwed themselves over by just coming out of the gate with terrible reviews, and not having to do anything with the actual game itself, but the fact that it's not compatible with a large set of the population on Steam. When I think of an Oculus-only game, I think, well, that's on the Oculus Store, right? Like, that's where you put it. You put it on the Oculus Store, and then when it's ready for the other things like Index or Vive, then you put it on Steam. Like, Cloudland. There's so many examples like Cookout or
Walkabout.
Walkabout. Yeah,
Yeah.
Walkabout. We're still waiting for that to come out on Steam. But it's like these games were on Oculus first, and then they're going to bring it to Steam when they figure out what to do and do it. But
Yeah.
they made this bizarre choice, and I think they're paying the price, and this is why you don't do that.
Yeah, and I forgot to say what Larcenauts is. It's basically like a Overwatch type of game in VR. So it's like, I don't know, if it might be a team of 6. Is that how those games work?
Something. I mean, it could be. I mean, it
Something
could be
like that.
3. It could be 5. Overwatch is 5, but I can't even remember what Overwatch is now. It might be. I think it's 6. But yeah, that's a good. It's a team-based hero shooter, I guess.
Yeah, and for $30, I'm not interested. Even if it actually got good reviews, I wouldn't be that interested in like a team shooter for $30. If it was 20 maybe. I don't know. That's just not really my thing that much.
Yeah, I played hundreds of hours of Overwatch, so this, a good hero team-based shooter would appeal to me.
Okay.
But when I read about this kind of stuff, like the weird sprint, especially the button loading, button reloading, and stuff like that, that's
Yeah.
just like, how is it 2021, right? How is it 20? Had VR for 6 years now, like mainstream VR. How are these companies still doing these stupid things? Like,
I don't know.
right? That's the whole point in VR, and this is like something that bothers me about Population One, where I'm not fully embracing it. It's like, a grenade, you just point and aim, like you don't throw it. Like, dude,
Yeah.
this is why I'm moving things around my room. I'm putting a fucking helmet on my head so that I can do this stuff. So I don't.
Yeah.
If I just want to click a button, I'll sit down on a chair and play a flat game with my mouse. Like, right, like.
Yeah.
So it's just bizarre. It's just like they've not played any other game, or they're living in 2016 and trying to figure out how to make a VR game, and they made an error.
Yeah, it's like they made a flat game and just added VR at the end.
Yes,
And
exactly.
another thing is a lot of times devs don't have time to play games, so like maybe they haven't played enough games to know what's good. You know,
Then maybe they shouldn't be making games.
maybe
I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe,
It's like you need to
maybe
know,
not.
like, is this game good? You need to know what a good game is. Like, I don't know if
I
this
know.
game's good. I've never played a with the competition. It's just really bizarre.
Yeah,
I
it
don't live in
is.
that world. I mean, maybe
No.
maybe if there's a dev that listens to this that wants to give some inside baseball to us and let us know, from this side what we're missing. But it's just
Hmm.
so weird, and these games typically get dinged for that. I think Population One has definitely been successful despite that. People are just
Yeah,
playing, but it's just like with Population One, I'm just waiting for somebody to come out with a real game, right? Like when you're an actual VR game like that. Um, not, not
yeah,
not these sort of games that just kind of get by because they don't have good competition. That's what's going on now.
yeah. All right, so the next thing is index. There are index replacement controllers now. So before, if one of your controllers went bad and you're out of warranty or for whatever reason you couldn't get help, now you can buy an individual left or right controller for $149, and you can buy a cable for $129. I tried to buy a cable, but they were sold out. So
Oh my
that's how
god.
that might be why they gave me an index, a
Oh
replacement
wow.
index. Because I was like, well, what am I going to do now? I was going to try a new cable and see if that fixed it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting. You know what? We forgot one bullet point, and that's Facebook's got in-game ads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Are you surprised by that?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I completely expected this. So yeah, Facebook announced that they're gonna start testing in-game ads, and the first game that they announced was gonna have them is Blast On, the game, your favorite game of the year so far.
So far. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been getting review bombed on the Oculus and Steam stores, even though this isn't even in effect yet. It doesn't even have the ads yet.
Oh wow.
Just getting bombed, like, and totally lowered the score. So within a week, the Blast On devs have said, "Nope, we're out. We're not doing this ad thing." So it worked.
Yeah. Good. Well, good. I
Yeah,
I, I swear to God, this is
yeah,
Facebook. Buying Oculus and everything that's gone on. It's like VR has made a deal with the devil.
yeah,
My God, it's like we play games to escape things, right? I don't want to have somebody trying to sell me some nonsense when I'm playing a game. That's
yeah,
my escape, man. That's like my safe space, Like I just want to escape reality, and then you're trying to sell me a product. Like, come the
yeah,
fuck on.
yeah.
Like,
Especially a game that you bought. It,
yeah, yeah.
in a free game, it would make more sense.
Yeah. So I mean, like, also, so Facebook, its in-game ads are also like, has Facebook had ads in like their menu system in like the. So what's the difference? Have they had ads in their menu system and now they're putting ads in games, or they're just putting ads everywhere now? What's the exact details on that?
I, in games, I don't in the menu system like in what counts as an ad? Because in like their store when they're showing games, that's not an ad really.
No, that's fine. I mean, if you're in a store and you're showing
Mm.
games, that seems okay.
But are you saying you've seen ads?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
use the Quest 2 or
Okay.
anything like that.
No, I don't. I don't. I mean, maybe they'll put ads in their home environment. I'm not sure. I think I've only read about the in-game ads, but they'll probably put them everywhere. Who knows? I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, listen. It's like their whole goal is to strap helmets to people's head and then have their eyeballs always seeing ads so they can make
Yeah,
ad revenue. It's just
yeah,
it's
and,
not good, and like gamers don't like this. I don't know what they're expecting. They if they want to get into the VR space, great. If they want to have this side business where they're into VR, which is next generation gaming in my opinion, great. But they're commingling this, their advertising revenue into this. It's like I'm sure they're subsidizing and selling games at like or headsets at cost and stuff. With their
mhm,
whole goal is just bringing ad revenue, and it sucks. Like
yeah,
this is not something that gamers want. And the other thing is, it's like when people buy the Quest 2, they weren't signing up for this. That
yeah,
now this is something that's new, that's now thrown into something that a lot of people own. So it's not good. If you want to have like I think Amazon does this with the Kindle, is that you can buy a version of the Kindle where you
hmm,
see ads.
Yeah.
or you can buy a version where you don't. I think
Hmm.
that's there's some fairness in that, right? It's like
Hmm.
if you don't mind ads and you want to save some money, then great. Here's the Quest 2 at $200 or $150 or something.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that just wants to play games like the majority of gamers out there, and you don't want to be staring at ads, then it's just I don't know. It's not cool, man. It's not right, and I'm hate to see something get review bound, but at the same time, rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I have YouTube Premium membership, where I pay monthly
Yeah.
extra. I pay for that so I don't have to see ads. That's the primary reason I do that.
Yeah, dude. That's yeah. I mean,
Because I'm on YouTube all day, basically.
yeah. I just bringing ads into video games.
Yeah.
This is just not the territory for it, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's what Facebook is trying to introduce, and I'm sure other gaming manufacturers and people are watching how this plays out. So I like the revolt. I
Yeah.
like it. I like that. So hopefully gamers keep that up because look, we're subjected to enough ads in life.
Yeah.
We don't need it in our games.
Yeah. All right. So then, oh yeah, I forgot about this to mention this. I played Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR. There was this VR mod that came out this past month by this guy named Luke Ross. But he released it on Patreon, so you had to pay $10 to join his Patreon to get the mod. And I already suspected that this was going to be an issue, but even though I have a 3080 video card and a good processor, i7, 8700K, this thing this did not run well at all for me. And it actually kind of pissed me off that I paid $10 for this mod when to me it was unplayable. It just but it was all over the news and there were lots of YouTube videos about it. And I don't know. I'm sure he keeps updating it, and it's probably going to have better performance. But I just wanted to let people know. Probably, don't waste your money.
Yeah.
I didn't already have Red Dead Redemption 2. I bought it just for this purpose, but then I ended up refunding it.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But speaking of mods of flat games, I want to point out that there are other VR mods for these. These are flat games. Outer Wilds, I've talked about. Uh, Valheim. Have you heard of Valheim? That's an extremely popular game.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yep.
Yeah,
I've seen a little bit of the game. I've heard of it,
yeah,
so I'm slightly aware of it.
yes. So that I had a VR mod that just recently got motion controller support. So I'd like to try that out. Then Subnautica Below Zero. This is supposedly a great mod. Subnautica had a mod. That's an older game, but the Below Zero is a newer Subnautica game. I really
Oh.
want to play that because Subnautica is awesome. That's one of my favorite VR games of all time. So I need to try Below Zero.
Oh shit! I didn't know a new one came out. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
I never played the first one, but I know that there was a VR mod for it.
it's awesome, but it's a survival game, so you have
Yeah.
to worry about your air and your food, which some people get annoyed by, but I'm fine with that stuff. So then Risk of Rain 2 has a VR mod with motion controls. GTFO has a VR mod with motion controls. That's a team shooter game.
Yeah.
And Firewatch that's being worked on a mod with motion controls. The same guy that made the Outer Wilds mod, which has motion controls, is working on Firewatch. So there's all sorts of really good flat games that are getting modded for VR. So if you go to the website flat2vr.com, it's flat and the number 2 vr.com. It'll give you a Discord invite to that Discord that tracks all of these mods. So that's where I learn about all these things. Like
Oh, nice.
under announcements, they'll be like, new update to Valheim with motion controller support. That's how I learned about it.
Nice.
So if you're into VR and you want more games, like higher quality games, yeah, definitely check that Discord out. So the next thing I was going to talk about is those Steam Next Fest demos. So I'm going to go through these as fast as I can. There's 23 demos I played. So I Expect You to Die 2, sequel to I Expect You to Die. It's basically the exact same thing as I Expect You to Die, which you're going to hate, Nick,
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
you didn't like this game, but I did. I like it. But from what I played of the demo, it wasn't very long. It was the same exact type of thing. So nothing really impressive there. So then Into the Darkness VR it's a shooter that had surprisingly good graphics. And what was funny about it was you could tell immediately that it was made in China or something because every single line like from the AI bot that was teaching me was completely wrong English.
What is this game? Into the Darkness?
Into the Darkness
Okay.
VR. Yeah, it's worth playing even just for that because I was laughing the whole time
Okay.
at them trying to do English. Anyway, so what's another thing interesting about this one is it's very obvious that they tried to combine a bunch of elements from Half-Life Alyx, from Saints and Sinners, and from Boneworks, all three into this game. Because it just feels like you're playing those games, but like a much worse version of them,
Yeah.
a more janky version of them.
Great.
Um,
Who doesn't want that?
yeah, but it still is interesting, so I recommend trying it. So then there's Arcade Legend. This is a game that's sort of like Peerhead Arcade, but in this game you can build your own arcade. You can like place the arcade machines anywhere you want, and like you can change how your arcade looks, the color, and the carpet and all the stuff. And there's progression where you make money. Like the more games you put out, the more money you make, and then like the more stuff you can buy. So it kind of has that kind of progression thing. And then during the demo, the further you get, a new area of the arcade opens up, and so that was kind of cool. So then Girl.exe, that was the worst thing I've ever played in my life.
It's a weird name too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Worst thing
was
you've ever
like,
played in your life. That says a lot too. You play a
yeah,
lot of games.
yeah. I was hoping it was going to be something like the movie Her, Girl.exe, but no, it was. It was the performance was so bad. How often is it that you play a VR game where just moving your head causes reprojection everywhere?
I was looking at the graphics look like they're basic,
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
really basic graphics,
Mm-hmm.
and the controls are terrible. And just moving your head, it's just like frame. So don't even
Yeah.
attempt it.
I love how
All
they're
right.
like, we need a demo of this. We gotta show the world this
I
game.
know.
What the
God,
hell are people thinking? I just
I
don't.
I
I
have
don't
no
get it.
idea.
They try this game out. They at least have a friend try it and get
Yeah,
feedback.
I don't get it. So the next one was Against. Against is surprisingly cool. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it's kind of like Beat Saber, but you're fighting guys.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you use a sword and sometimes you use a gun. So it's kind of like Beat Saber, kind of like Pistol Whip,
yeah.
and it's like darker. Like it has a darker theme. So there's some monsters and
Oh
um,
sweet. I didn't know there was a demo. I've been looking at this game. You're right. It looks like Beat Saber. Looks like Pistol Whip. You know,
yeah, and it's actually kind of hard.
stylized.
It's kind of
Okay.
hard, and I kind of like that. That like I was getting killed and having to restart, and I like that. So then Iron Rebellion is a mech game. I hadn't heard anything of it, but I was actually impressed by the cockpit and like the
Okay.
controls. It felt really good. So I think all you can do right now is go into like a wave arena, where you're in this arena where there's buildings and stuff, but then there's other mechs running around shooting at you, and you just shoot them. And that's all I did, but it still was really impressive. So I would watch that game.
I like the idea of a mech game in VR, and
Yeah.
I do have a mech game in VR that I've never reviewed, and I haven't played it in a long time. Do you know that what I'm talking about? I'm looking through my list of games right now to see if I can find it. Oh, uh, Vox
Fox Machina.
Machina. Yeah,
That's a multiplayer mech game, and I played that when it first came out,
yeah.
and then I wanted a single player campaign is what I really wanted.
Dude, this game is like being made at a snail's pace. I've had
Yeah,
it since last time I played it. Jesus, last time I played it was November 22nd, 2018. All right,
yeah,
so I'm talking about Vox Machina now, so we won't get lost. But that's another mech game. That's the one mech game that I'm aware of on VR. Which it was good. It was impressive when I played it. It was early. I'm seeing now that the last update was April 28th, so it's being worked on. It's 0.38 alpha.
yeah,
Like maybe this game
the,
will be done by 2030. I don't know. Like
yeah. The guy probably has a full time job, and that's like his part time thing or something.
yeah, it had good graphics and stuff though. It was like
Yeah,
pretty like
mm-hmm.
I remember
It
playing
was,
Mech Warrior back in the day when I was, a teen and all that stuff. But like, so like I have that idea that I want to play a mech game. I don't know.
Archangel is another pretty cool mech game. It's like it has like pretty high production quality, but it's kind of on it's on rails though.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You don't have full control of your mech. That's the only issue. So the next one is I Fetch Rocks. This was a weird game where I was like on some sort of spaceship, and I don't know. It was really It was really complicated. You have to like build all these switches and circuits and all this stuff, and it was like, all right, I'm not smart enough for this.
Yeah.
But if you're into that sort of building switches and circuits, and
I'm looking at it right now. It's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Looks like a what's this work? Like
I
they testing your
tried.
IQ?
It felt like an IQ test. Yeah.
See, this is the thing. This is the kind of games that are coming out for VR. It's like, what the Jesus, guys. I mean, you've been given like a generational leap in gaming.
Yeah.
And we're fucking doing switches?
Yeah. Yeah. So then Sweet Surrender. This game is cool. Check this game out. Play this demo. It has a cel shaded look. It's a first person shooter, and it reminds me of Compound. Probably has better graphics than Compound. So that was fun. I recommend that. So then Detour Bus was some weird puzzle game that I didn't understand, where you're putting road pieces down, and this bus is going along them as you put pieces down. I don't understand that game.
I don't understand what you're describing.
Yeah, you're trying to get this bus from one point to another, but they're giving you puzzle pieces or road pieces that are like some are curved and some are straight, and like the way they connect is really bizarre.
Oh yeah, it's looks really trippy.
It was hard. I didn't know what to do. So then The Secret of Retroopolis, that was interesting. That was kind of like a point and click type of game, sort of like old style point and click games. And it seemed like you're like some sort of detective guy, and you're gonna solve mysteries or something. That looked cool.
Okay.
I like the graphic style, and that could be something to look out for.
Okay.
So then Dragon Extinction.
That's coming out. I see July 21st. So
okay, that's coming out soon. So then Dragon Extinction VR it reminded me of the what's that game? The Moro. What's that game we both played? It's blocky.
Yeah.
It's medieval.
I'll find it.
I can't remember what it's called.
It's gonna drive you nuts.
I know.
Somebody's
Morrigan. The Morrigan.
Yeah, Morrigan. Yeah.
There you go. So it looks like the Morrigan. When I came into this little town area, I was kind of impressed by the little town and the people selling stuff. And then I went and like hunted for animals, and then that's when I gave up. And it's just like, I don't know.
God bless you for diving into. Like, I look at all this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna fucking waste my time.
It was. I did it because I was like, that's something I can talk about on the show. So that's why I did it.
You're a good man. Just to tell
Thank
us,
you.
just to tell us it's garbage. Well, listen, somebody's got to dive in the dumpster because eventually you're gonna find a gem. Yeah,
if you're into blocky RPG games, that would be for you. So then DMN7. This was a horror game that's really rough. You're running around trying to get away from this giant mechanized spider thing. And I didn't really understand what I was supposed to. Probably don't bother. All right. Paranormal Detective Escape from the 90s. So this is an escape the room game. I didn't understand what I was supposed to be doing, so I didn't spend a lot of time in that one.
Awesome.
All right. Arcade. So it's Arc, A-R-K, then a dash, A-D-E. This is like it's a first person shooter where, it sort of looks like Tron.
Okay.
And you like Tron.
I like the stylized graphics here.
Yeah. The gameplay wasn't anything special to me. You get power-ups and stuff, but like one thing I don't like is you have some sort of companion that is flying around with you, and the enemies are shooting at that thing too. So you have to protect that thing. And I never like games where I have to protect something.
Yeah.
I like to just be like, I'm the one thing I'm trying to protect. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you got to keep
Yeah.
this character or something alive. Yeah, I'm with
Yeah, I
you.
don't like that. All right. So then Fog of Cage was a horror game. It was like an Asian horror game, so there was some really tense stuff in there, but it started out I was like this looks really rough. Some of it looks like, 2017 VR,
Hmm.
some of it, but some of it looked good, but if you like horror, that'll make you jump. Squingle was like one of those games where you try to like a wire loop game sort of thing where you try to get, you know, you with your hand you bring these balls through this tunnel without touching the sides type
Oh,
of game.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's all
one
I
of
need is
those
more
things.
stress in my life.
Yeah, yeah. And Seeker My Shadow was a game. It's a puzzle game.
Hmm.
It doesn't even really need to be in VR because it's like a. If you've ever seen the game Toad Treasure Tracker, Nintendo game,
No.
it's like that where you look at this little 3D little model basically, and this person's walking around on it, and you have to get them, you know, on this platform to get up to here, but like you're just like a a god looking down at this, and there's I don't know nothing there too interesting.
Oh, dude, I'm looking at the next game. Is the Sentence game? Is that next?
Sentenced.
Oh
Oh yeah,
my
you
God.
you behead people.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
it didn't. I thought it wasn't as. I've been hearing about this game for a long time now, and I was like, that's it. Like, I just stood there, got a sword, and they were like, all right, behead the guy, and all right, swung the sword and I beheaded him, and they're like, that was it. That was the demo, and I'm like, what?
Why?
What?
Why? Why?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
This is why like people are like, oh, what's the next headset coming out? I don't care what the next headset coming. It doesn't matter. I don't need to see Sentence in better resolution, right? Like,
Yeah.
we need games. We
Yeah.
need games, not this
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah. So then 2076 Midway Multiverse, that's cool. You remember 1976, that game?
Yeah.
This is like a sequel to that's in the
Okay.
future. It's like a shoot 'em up, and it does like a lot of like side scrolling sort of levels. And
Okay.
then sometimes you're right behind the ship too. So that's really cool. I'm gonna look forward to that one. So I'll definitely get that. Then there was Cave Digger 2 Dig Harder. Cave Digger was a free game where you're like on an elevator platform going into a mine, and you can dig the walls and find gold and stuff.
Who
And
doesn't
I
want
bet
to simulate digging?
yeah, kids I'm sure like Cave Digger a lot. And Cave Digger 2 what it does is the difference is you can actually walk through levels, and you're
Hmm.
first person doing like, look first person through mines, and then there's a part where I came up on the surface and I was walking around on the surface. So it seems like that's the main difference.
All right.
The Patcher. I saw that you had the Patcher wishlisted, so
Let me
you've
see
seen
the
this.
patcher. Let's see.
The Patcher was cool. There's some promise there. It's a first-person shooter where you're fighting monsters, alien monsters and shit.
Oh
You get
yeah, I saw this a long time ago. Like
yeah,
I saw like a Facebook ad for it or something.
yeah. So that has some promise.
So you played it.
Yeah, I played. Yeah, and
It's
I'm
pretty good.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure all of these games, like I'm sure their demo is still gonna be there even after this next fest ends.
Yeah.
So you could try all of these out.
May I see the demo?
Yeah.
Yep.
So then another one I tried was called Game Scene. Don't even bother. Yeah.
Yeah.
It markets itself as like every month we're gonna release a new movie for you to experience, and like
Uh,
so there's like a VHS tape that you pick, and then that's the movie, and then like it's just really all it is it puts you inside like some little shitty wave shooter for a couple minutes, or you ride on something for a minute, and then like that's the movie for the month.
uh,
It's
it's painful watching companies
yeah,
trying to figure out VR. It's got to be
yeah.
like we've got to be in this period of time when whenever I watch like documentaries about consoles and like the history of
Hmm.
video games and stuff. It's like the Atari, right? The Atari sold well, it was great, and all that. I mean, we're not in that VR, but it was still early. But there was just like a deluge of like garbage games,
Yeah.
and like it just kind of like it just almost like killed the system because there was so much garbage out there.
Yeah, landfill full of games like
Yep.
ET and shit like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so the final landfill game is Ash of Legends. It is a landfill game. It's a tower defense game. I I tried it and I was just like, no, this just I went through the whole tutorial and then I went into an actual tower defense level and it was no, it's just don't even bother. So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, you're a trooper.
Thank you.
You're a trooper. There's a lot of games in there, fellow listeners,
Mhm.
to just you know save yourself some time.
But
It's
sometimes if you just want to laugh, you could try. You could do that too.
I need a win. I need like a
Yeah.
VR. I need like a VR
Yeah.
win. I need something that's gonna like just show me, give
Mm-hmm.
me a reason to be in VR. All right.
All right.
Speaking of which, let's move on to our reviews. Let's see if we can find a reason to throw those headsets on and find a glimmer of hope amongst a lot of these turds.
Yeah.
All right, so their first game we're going to talk about is Compound. Compound is created by Bevan McKinney. Hopefully, Bevan, I got your name correct. This is obviously a solo developer. Came out in May 15th of 2018. It's an early access still, I believe. It's still continuing to be worked on. I just got this game last month. I've had it on my radar for a while because it's gotten a lot of like positive reviews. It's currently a 97% positive reviews on Steam. It sells for $19.99. I think one thing that I always remember reading and is panning out to be true is that the game was always $19.99 and will always be $19.99 even as more content is added. And it also has a free demo, so you can check it out. This is kind of a first-person shooter, but it's stylized in retro graphics. So think Doom or Wolfenstein. That's kind of like if you could be plopped in one of those games, that's what's going on with Compound. And it's also a roguelite shooter where you kind of play and you die, and if you die, you're at the very very like first level of the game. Anything to add? Did I miss anything there, Justin?
No, no. There really isn't much story to mention. Um, you see posters along the way that kind of give you an idea of what's going on, but
Yeah, yeah. The sound there's a number of weapons in the game. I mean, there's maybe I don't know, like roughly 9 weapons. There's like a kind of a training room, and the training in the game will teach you how to use the weapons and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
The smooth locomotion in the game. I'm watching like the trailer right now, and I think in the trailer it shows this guy like kind of ducking and crouching so you can get active. I was never that active when I played the game. I
No.
was using kind of strafing to move in and out. I also never got really far in the game. I
Mm-hmm.
maybe only got to like the third level, like the headquarters. I don't know if
Which difficulty?
I think whatever the standard is.
There's easy, medium, and hard, or easy, normal, and hard, and the standard is easy. And the game's hard.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
on easy, easy, the game is hard.
Okay. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
got that far. I guess it's like a roguelite, right? Because you start at the
Yeah,
beginning, but like
and it
I
changes every time.
it changes every time, right? The
Yeah,
levels are randomized,
yeah,
even though it's like the same kind of. It's the same level, but the level
yeah,
design is different.
yeah.
Like the layout's different.
Same level, same theme, but yeah, the layout's different. And the
Yeah,
enemies, yeah.
and then different weapons will spawn, but you don't necessarily become stronger. Like the more you play, right? I never found myself as like a stronger player.
What you mean, as in like your own personal abilities?
Yeah, well, sometimes when you play roguelike games, like you play, but then you come back, you're like leveled up, right? So
Oh
you're able to
no,
get
no,
further. So
no.
it
There's
doesn't
no
have
leveling
that.
up.
Yeah, it
No.
doesn't have that element. It's like you die, you're at the beginning of the game. That's it.
But it does unlock. It does. The further you get, you can unlock new weapons that you can get.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I also found the enemies though, like even though I was getting to the same point in the game, the enemies got harder.
Oh yeah,
So
the enemies definitely get harder.
yeah, so even though I was getting better weapons, I still
Hmm.
was not getting any farther because the enemies also got harder.
Okay.
So I was finding like I was kind of going like it became very samey for me, right? Like it was just like, oh, this is the part I got to last time, and even though maybe I have a better weapon, there's better enemies now shooting me, so I'm not going to get any farther.
Depends what weapon you got. Let me see. How many? I have 10.7 hours in compound.
I don't
So
have that much.
How many do you have?
I have over an hour.
Okay, well, you need to play it a lot more.
Okay.
That's
I kind
all.
of got bored of it, to be
Oh
honest. I
wow.
kind of was like, eh. I'm seeing like I kept on playing like the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Well, you said you weren't physically dodging. This is a game where you need to physically dodge.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So maybe I'm playing it wrong. Maybe I'm playing it wrong.
I
You know,
do a
it's
lot when I play. I'm physically dodging and ducking and weaving and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
okay. Maybe that's my maybe I need to get into it more. You know, it's funny. Sometimes when you have a game where you're teleporting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's when I'm dodging and stuff. But when I'm like smooth locomotion, I play it like I don't really duck and dodge that much, right?
Okay.
Like I don't know. That's just me.
I usually don't either, but something about this game, the bullets come slowly enough at you that
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can be like, all right, I'll move this way. Okay, you can actually think about that.
So how far did you get into the game?
I've gotten to the final boss, but
Oh wow.
I haven't beaten him.
So how many levels deep is that?
It's the final boss is after, so like there's the first levels of the sewers,
Yeah,
then the next level is the warehouse,
yeah.
then it's like maybe the lab or maybe the chemical refinery or something. Then like there's a lab level. Then I think the next level is that there's some sort of headquarters level
Yeah, I thought the headquarters level was at the sewers. That's where I thought. That's like what I
at the
was getting to.
sewers
After the sewers. I didn't get to a
Uh,
warehouse level. I was like at the headquarters level.
headquarters. Okay, okay.
Like
So then
office. I was like in their office or something.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's the office level. Then there's like an executive level where you're at the executive, like it's like 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 very fancy looking
Oh,
office.
okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots now. Yeah, okay.
Then the next one after that is the final boss, where that, I don't know yet what I'm supposed to do. Even on easy, I don't know what I need to
Yeah.
do to beat that. So there are, if you play enough, you'll figure out which guns are good and which ones you like.
Hmm.
And I'll dual wield, so you can have a gun in both hands.
Right. I was doing that. Yep.
But the only issue with that is you have to put a gun down to be able to reload because it's manual reload. So how are you managing that?
Manual reload.
Yeah, there's manual reload.
Yeah, I think I was fine doing it.
So your gun in your left hand, you would just like let
I,
go of it,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
and then it hovered in the air for you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, the other thing is there are mutators in this game. You know that vending machine? Did you notice the vending machine when you first
Yeah, it's
start
like
out?
yeah, like there's like modifying the way like the
Mm-hmm.
levels are structured, the game's
Yeah,
structured, right?
and
So I didn't
yeah.
experiment with those, so.
One of the mutators is automatic reload. So sometimes I'll use that, and that way I can have a weapon in both hands, and I don't have to worry about manual reload. They're just automatically reloading. So
Oh, I see.
that's so yeah. So then I can do better that way.
Okay.
Then there are mutators where it totally randomizes everything, like the enemies and the weapons and everything is random. So you could get like much harder enemies on the first level, and there's no telling. There's a modifier where you can hold every weapon like all at once. Like it's called like old school or something. You move faster
Mm,
and you can
okay.
hold all the weapons all at once. And then there's modifiers where like one hit kill, one hit kills the enemies, and one hit kills you. And oh yeah, on your
Yeah.
wrist you have a map, and you have like it shows your hit points on your wrist, and on the map it'll show you like places you haven't been yet, and like you got to get to an elevator to finish each level. When you kill everyone, that's when you can leave the level.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff in the environment is shootable. You can interact with it by shooting at it. Like you can make signs fall, you can make things explode. Fire extinguisher, you shoot it, it'll explode and put white cloud everywhere. So that's one cool thing. If there's a bush, you can shoot it. If you see a sack of paper, you can shoot it, and then you'll see paper fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that covers it. I mean, it worked fine with the index. You know, I didn't have any issues.
Here's another thing. You're gonna see different enemies based on the difficulties you do. Like like normal and hard have different some like have like these harder level enemies that you won't see on easy, but they'll probably just totally f you up if you even see them. So yeah, he keeps adding more guns, more enemies. He keeps adding more detail to the levels. Like the sewer now looks way better than it did originally.
Oh wow.
It has a lot more detail.
Okay.
I got the game when it first came out. I mean, and the demo before it even released. It was a long time. I don't know. That might have been 2017 when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, it says May 15, 2018 is the release date.
The release. Okay, 2018. Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe it was then.
It does seem longer though. I don't know.
Or maybe the demo came out in 2017, then the actual game
Yeah.
came out 2018. I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at his stuff. I mean, he updated it today.
Yeah, he
You know what I
updates
mean?
it constantly.
Yeah, so I think that's the cool thing about this game. I mean, obviously, we got one guy who keeps on working on it. I think it gets a lot of love, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy just keeps on working on it, and it's something unique, and it's better than a lot of stuff out there in that sense. To me, this is something that was maybe would have been more interesting, or I would have liked more in 2018. But now,
Hmm.
3 years later, I'm after being in VR for this long, it's doesn't appeal to me that much,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm sort of let down by it. I don't know. I
Hmm.
wasn't expecting a ton. I know it's a single developer. I'm not somebody who's into like retro gaming and stuff. So I think
Hmm.
this is somebody who like, oh my god, it'd be so cool to be like in Doom and or Wolfenstein or something like that. Like would like it. So there's nothing inherently bad about this game. It's just that there's not enough where I'm like I really want to keep on playing or keep on playing more, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's for me. I just want more. There's not really any story or anything like that. There's nothing driving me forward like the sort of get as far as you can, die, and then you go back and you replay through the game again. It's not a mechanic that I like. I'd rather just be like a longer game, right? Like
Hmm.
a really fully fleshed out, 10-hour campaign game that I'm working through. I think if it was that, I would enjoy it a heck of a lot more. And it sounds like the way that this game was made, it's sort of trying to artificially extending because there's a lack of content there, or because there's one person trying to make this, which is again impressive. But what you end up with is just something where you're again just playing the limited content over and over again, right?
Hmm.
Like instead of having this fully fleshed out game. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's not what this game is. So, to me, I would give this game a 6, which is the bottom end of a solid game. It's not really for me, but I sort of admire what's there. I admire what one person has done. It's going to be fun enough for some people. It's just not for me though.
Well, it is for me. This is just like Cosmodread. This is my type of game, and like you didn't like Cosmodread either, so
No.
that's just not your type of game. Well, I like retro, and I like roguelites or roguelikes. I'm not sure what the right term is there. This game for me is just so like extremely fun. Like how I was saying about the dodging and everything, and like when the bullets go by you, you hear it like just whizzing by your ear on the one side, and like I don't know what it is. Despite the graphics aren't very good, but actually even though the it's pixelated like like Nick was saying, Doom and Wolfenstein, like you don't see jaggedness or like
Right.
shimmer. It like looks really good, and like it's bright and clear and vivid. Um,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I really like bright colors, vivid colors. Like that really works for me. So I'm gonna blow your mind. If I had to choose between playing Compound or Half Life Alyx, I would rather play Compound.
Oh my god.
And this game is a 9.5 for me.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
Oh wow.
I'm
Listen,
not saying. Yeah. Compound is not a better game than Half Life Alyx, but for me, it's more fun.
oh
I
my
have more
god.
fun in Compound.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind is blown, dude.
Yeah.
You say Half-Life Alyx, I'm just like that's the best game I've ever played in my life. Like that is like I was telling my girlfriend, she's asking what games we're reviewing and games I've been playing, and somehow Half-Life Alex came up, and I was like, Half-Life Alex is like the best amusement park ride ever created, and yet I can play that in my house.
For me, it's like there's too much. One thing I like about Compound is since there's no story, it's just like you're just straight gameplay. Straight gameplay. With Half-Life Alex, there's too much of this non-gameplay, too much of this like wandering, not doing anything. Here's a cutscene type of thing.
Oh wow, there's no cutscenes in Half-Life Alex.
Well, no, I don't mean a cutscene like where you're watching a flat video. I mean, no, there are plenty of cutscenes where you're stuck listening to someone talk. Or like some little story thing is happening and you're not actually doing anything. Whereas in Compound, you're nonstop doing something.
You know what game, as you're saying that, we should review next month. I gotta go back and start. I play. There was 2 years ago I started playing the Serious Sam games in VR.
Oh, I love the Serious Sam games.
We should do. I should go back because I had like all of them. I was just playing through. Like I should just beat one from start to go. But what's the Serious Sam 3 VR? Like the most kind of.
That isn't my favorite one. That's probably my least favorite one.
So I'll play that one. I'll play that one next. I'll hop into it next month. I'll review that.
Okay, that one has the best graphics of the three.
But it made me, yeah. It made me think, based on what you're saying, like, well, what if I can combine the two, right? Like, Serious Sam is like constant, like run and gun, really like no story. I mean, but more of a progression than Compound, right? Like, because you're working through levels. So like, I can play a game like Serious Sam and like that, or like, even like the Doom VR, right? That came out a couple years ago. Like
VFR.
What's that? Yeah,
VFR.
Yeah, like that was fun. I was really pissed off that it wasn't the full game, right? Like I thought that was great after they got through some of the early issues that they had. Like I would love that. I would love to run and gun, but I like levels. Like I like a beginning and I like an end. I think it's just the Rogue Light or Likes or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing where it just like it kind of gets me. But,
yeah, I understand that.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, listen, I'm glad we're on different pages because that then you're listening to this, you can kind of see, okay, well, what style appeals to me, and people love Compound, 97% positive. Like I wouldn't give Compound a negative review. I just play it and I'm like, yeah, I can see what's there and it's good and all. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm a retro gamer, and you're more of a modern gamer, I guess, right?
Yeah, dude. I was telling my buddy Kevin, who I did the other podcast with, I was like, Kevin's more of a retro guy, just non VR but retro. I was like, listen, I live in the future. Like I'm always like thinking about what's next year, like what's 5 years, what's 10. Like I'm like, what's next? I'm always just looking forward and never kind of looking back, or even sometimes in the present. So that's just me.
He does have that crazy pinball machine with the screen on the playfield and all that.
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah. He's definitely living in the future with that.
What is that thing called?
That is the P3. So if you're listening to this and you're not into pinball, what Justin's talking about is search like P3, the letter P, and then just number 3 pinball, and it's kind of cool. It's a pinball machine that has like almost kind of like a TV screen monitor in there, but like it senses where the ball is on that monitor, and it will like interact with the game that way. Like it's really creative. So, anyways, okay, there's Compound. I'm glad we got to review this game, though. I mean, one good thing right now is that there's been kind of a lull in like new games to play or new games I'm interested in spending my hard-earned cash on. So I was like, well, there's a lot of games we can go back and check out. But this one's actually new that you're going to talk about. I have not played it. We look, we're not exactly making money with this podcast, so it comes out of our pocket. And sometimes we ask the devs for keys. We tried a key for this one. We did not get it. So Justin took the plunge, and you got a hold of this game somehow. I did not, and if I'll put it this way, if it was getting really good reviews, I probably would have grabbed it, right? Like, but it was not getting good reviews on Steam. So the game is Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife. It's by Fast Travel Games, which they've made. I know that name, Fast Travel Games. What else have they made?
Yeah, Apex Construct.
Okay, I didn't play that game, but okay.
Yeah, I played through that game. That game was pretty good, but
Yeah.
it was, it was nothing that great. I'm trying to see what else they did. If there's another one, I don't know.
This is so this came out on May 25th of this year. It's sitting at only a 58% positive on Steam, and it's $29.99. And it's also on Quest, I guess. So, all right, take it away, man. This is all you. I didn't touch this game.
Oh, they also did the Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, and they did budget cuts.
Oh
I don't know.
wow, I liked Budget Cuts 1, 2. I couldn't get
Oh.
into. I played the first level, and I was like, that's it.
Yeah, a lot of people struggled with, budget cuts too.
Okay, I'm glad it's not
Yeah.
just me because I really
Yeah.
liked Budget Cuts 1.
Yeah. So I asked for a key. I'm not big time enough, so they didn't give me a key.
No, we're not
But
big time enough.
but my friend that I share libraries with, he bought it. So
There
that's
you
how I
go.
played it. I played
There
it
you
through
go.
his library. So just so people know, you can Steam Family Share with your friends, and then you can play each other's games. And you may know that if that person is like online playing a game, you can't play anything from his library. But if you pull your cable, your internet cable from your PC, you can play his library, and even if he's playing. So that's just a little tip. That's how I get around that. So basically, in this game, you're a ghost. You went to this Howard Barkley's dude's mansion. He's some like rich Hollywood producer guy, and for some reason, you and some other people did this like séance in this séance room, and everybody ends up dead. It's sort of like a murder mystery, and you're a ghost that's there trying to figure out like why you died and what's going on. So I was wondering about the title, Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife. It's like so like why would you name it that? And I found out that it's like why so many words?
Exactly. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
reading the title, and I'm just like, Jesus, I thought the same thing.
yeah.
How about
So
Wraith the Oblivion? That's
yeah,
enough. We
yeah.
need
Well,
Afterlife?
I found out Wraith the Oblivion is like a tabletop role playing game. So I was like, shit, Nick might know about it.
Oh, no, I don't know that.
Have you ever heard of World of Darkness?
No.
Okay, so it's from some universe called World of Darkness, and they had so to differentiate it from like that game, they added Afterlife to the end.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. All right.
so I think it has the same premise where you're a ghost trying to figure out who killed you or something.
I mean, it's a tabletop game from 1994, so it's like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's uh, kind of, I mean, obscure for anybody who's like into modern board games, put it that
Oh,
way.
okay. So this is basically it's an exploration scavenger hunt murder mystery is what I call this.
Okay.
You're running around this mansion, and it'll be like you got to find a specific item, or maybe you have to find a key and then use that to open some door somewhere else, or you need to find a locket, and if you this locket is like important to this ghost, and if you return it, the next thing unlocks, that type of thing. And as you play, you gain new abilities. Like there are portals that'll open in the wall that you can walk through them, and like because you're a ghost, you can walk through some of the walls. And then you have an ability where you can like pick up objects, from far away. Eventually, you'll get that ability later in the game. So the graphics, I would say, are like mid-level graphics. They're just kind of average. Like the geometry of this game, a lot of right angles, a lot of squares, and a lot of rectangles. It looked like they were trying to conserve on like rounded edges in this game, and this runs on Quest 2.
Yeah.
So maybe they were trying to keep it more simple for them. But I read that on PC it has higher resolution textures, it has less aliasing, and I'm sure it's less blurry. But when I was playing it, I was like, this doesn't look that impressive. Like it can't look that much different on Quest or
Hmm.
Quest 2. Like one thing I didn't like is for the ghosts that you see along the way. Like sometimes you don't know if they're when you're watching these reenactments, you're not sure if they're actual living people reenacting or if they're ghosts because every time they look black and white and like their lips don't move. They talk without their lips moving, which I don't like. I want their lips moving at least. And so they're all dead, but yeah, like sometimes you're seeing maybe you'll see them actually get murdered when they actually got murdered. But then sometimes they're a ghost trying to like get away from other ghosts. Like who knows? Anyway, one thing I found impressive about the graphics was like when you there are parts where you go outside because there's a large outdoor area, and if you look up, the clouds. Most VR games just have like a static image for the sky, but this sky is really cool looking. There's swirling clouds, and they look really evil. So I like that. As far as the best thing about this game is the sound, because there are creepy sounds everywhere. This is a really scary game. So it's a horror game. In case it wasn't already obvious, like you don't, if you're not into horror games or you get scared easily, you're not gonna be able to play this game. Cause I'm a horror fan, but I got like I jumped a lot. There are jump scares in this game, like multiple jump scares, and I yelled out loud plenty of times from something like coming out of nowhere,
Mm.
or even just sometimes a sound I heard in my ear. I was like, "Fuck,"
Mm.
just so be warned. Another cool thing is on the floor. Sometimes you're walking on hardwood, and then like you'll start walking on carpet, and like the sound will change. Your footsteps will change from like hardwood sounds to carpet sounds. Then you get on tile, and that'll change too. So they did a really good job there. The voice acting is really good voice acting. Like every character is like sounds like an actor, and it's like really convincing. And there's this really evil voice that kind of like this, and it kind of swirls around your head, talking to you like
Mm.
all throughout the game, and like it'll be in your right ear, then it'll be go around the back of you, and then be in your left ear, and you'll be looking around like, what is that fucking thing here? And that'll freak you out. So 3D audio is great. So sound is you know, up there with the best sound I've ever heard in a VR game. So the controls are like it's first person, and one of the big issues a lot of people have with this game is you don't move very fast. If you click the thumbstick in, you'll go a little bit faster, but even that isn't very fast. And this is a giant mansion, and sometimes there's a lot of backtracking, so you're gonna have to go from one end of the mansion to the other end of the mansion, and it's like, god
Yeah,
damn.
I hate that kind of. I hate when games do that. I can literally feel my life escaping. Like I literally
Yeah.
like I'm aware of how much of my time in life is being wasted.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
I felt that way a lot, especially when I was lost, because you get lost in this game a lot.
Yeah.
There's no map, so like so many times I'm like I don't know where the fuck I am or where I need to go. I don't, and so that's an issue. So then there's an index grip binding issue that a lot of people complain about in their reviews. Like you have to squeeze really hard with your index controller to like to keep a grip on things, and but I don't know why they haven't fixed it yet, but there's a binding somebody made where I selected that and then I didn't have to grip hard at all. But I bet a lot of people don't know about the bindings. They probably don't know that that's something they can do. So, but because my index is gone, I've been playing it on my Rift S, and of course, no issue with the Rift S grip. I prefer actually to have an actual physical grip button. I know, I don't think Nick, I think you like having the index grip,
Oh man, I
but
love the
yeah,
index grip. I love it.
that's it's
I never
yeah.
want a physical grip button.
The problem is the games that don't do it well, and then you have to go in and edit the grip handling for the game if there isn't already a binding. But probably usually there's a binding
I
that
feel like
somebody's
that's
made.
inexcusable, like to blame the index for that now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's like the
yeah,
index has been out long enough that
yeah.
this it's 100% the dev's fault
Well,
for
yeah.
not for making this an issue to begin with.
This dev should have an index, but a lot of devs
Yeah.
like like if they're like really indie or like just one person, they might not even have an index to test it on.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
This
so
dev should though.
yeah, this dev definitely should.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
no excuse.
yeah. So when in the game, as far as the controls, you'll have a camera that you can use to take pictures that you'll need to do in the game. Then you have a little light, and then you have a voice recorder, and you're going to use all three of those things in certain instances to get through certain puzzles. One thing, like your hands, just like old VR games, your hands go through objects everywhere. Like it's not like Half-Life Alyx or Saints and Sinners or Boneworks where your hands stop, but you are a ghost. So I don't know if that was intentional, but at the same time, you can pick up some physical objects in the game, and you can grab door handles and open doors. So I kind of wish there was better physics in the game. It has this arm dowsing rod thing. Like, you ever heard of a dowsing rod where you use it like to find water? It's like some
Oh,
old
like
time.
a divining
Yeah,
rod.
yeah, like a divining rod.
Yeah.
So your arm is like that. It's like sometimes you don't know where the hell to go in the game, and you hold down one of the buttons on the controller, and then like your arm will like glow yellow, like if you point in the right direction, and it kind of points you to like the direction in the mansion you need to go. It does not work well at all, because like so many times I went to where it told me to go, and then there was nothing there, and I just got really frustrated with
And
that.
you had to
and
walk back
Yeah, and then I was like,
slowly.
well, yeah, walk back slowly. And I even watched a video of another guy who put a walkthrough up on this game, and he's doing the same thing. He's walking around the whole mansion with his
Oh
stupid
God.
arm out, going like, where do I go? Like, why isn't there something here? And like I watched his video to figure out where I needed to go, so that I
Yeah.
didn't have to spend my whole fucking life,
Yeah.
running around with my arm.
Dude, that's the worst. That is the worst. It's like
Yeah.
games where you're like, where do I go? And you're confused, right?
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
happens too often. That's frustrating enough. But then you add on like slow walking mechanic to
I
it.
know.
I'd just be done. I'd be so frustrated and be like, I'm moving on.
Yeah. And so another element in this game is this is a stealth game where sometimes there are going to be ghosts hunting you down, and you have to hide. You have to do whatever you can. There are certain things you can do that you'll learn, that you can do to get around them. You can distract them with various things, but like those ghosts, like they will find you and they will kill you. They are going to kill you many times, and you're going to get really frustrated because you die and then you go back to a save point. There are save points along the way where you can like actually grab it and you save, and like then you have to redo what you just did, and there's gonna be some places where you're gonna have to redo what you just did many times because you're just gonna keep dying. And like there are little closets you can hide in, and sometimes the ghosts would even like they would clip through the closet and still get me. And some of these ghosts are actually pretty hard, pretty scary, and pretty freaky, which I actually like. But most people would get really frustrated with it. So there's inverse kinematics. So you see your full arms in the game, and your arms look good. And you have like a watch on, and you're a ghost. You're dead, so your hands are all screwed up. Like I said, most objects are non-interactable. Most things your hands just go through, but then there are certain things that'll be like glowing yellow that indicate that, oh, I can get that and I can pick that up and do something with it. Those ghost things, like it'll be like you're going through this mansion just searching for items most of the game, but then out of nowhere with no warning, oh, now I'm in a stealth area where a ghost is gonna kill me immediately, and you're just gonna like die out of nowhere. Not even I had no idea that was about to happen, so that's gonna happen. As far as the last ability of this game, I beat the game today.
Oh wow! How long did it take you?
Well, the problem is because I was turning my internet off, I'm not sure if Steam actually counts that time. Like Steam says something like 4.5 hours, but I felt like I played it a lot more than that. So I'm not sure. I read some people saying it can take 8 hours. So I think I was somewhere in between there.
Okay.
I'm not, but like it said I had 97% completion. So what that means is there are some things along the way. Like there are like all sorts of papers and little story things you can find along the way and read that'll tell you about the story. Like there's a whole murder mystery story to uncover. So there was some crap. There's no way I'm gonna go back into this game. You would have to pay me so much money for me to go back in and try to find that 3% crap that I missed.
Yeah.
As far as rating, I say 5.5.
Okay.
Like
5.5.
it started as a 7 in my mind earlier in the game. Then it moved down to a 6 as I got frustrated, as I got lost and wished I had a map. And then it went down to 5 on this final boss area that I just beat. And now after beating it, I'm like, all right, I'll give you point 0.5 back. So there you go.
All right. There
Yeah.
you go, indeed. Yeah, it's too bad, man. I was hoping this would be a good game, right? I was hoping for yeah, let's go at least an 8-hour game, right? Something to really dig into, some kind of mystery, something supernatural, like something a little scary. That'd be great. Like, makes me think of Westworld a little bit. Did you ever play that game?
Oh yeah, I like Westworld a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that game like had no right to be as good as it was. Like it seemed like it'd be just a throwaway game. That might be actually Servios's best game.
Yeah, it is.
You know, you're walking around looking for things, or trying to escape, and you're being chased, and it's just very well done and fun. But I guess this is not the case. So I'm glad I didn't waste my money on it. I'm almost glad they didn't give me a key, because I would have been compelled to play it, and I would have
Yeah.
gotten very frustrated. I probably would not have gotten past an hour of it, just because you know, I can kind of already see what's going. So,
And when you get a key, you kind of feel bad about saying negative things about it.
well, it's
A little
tough.
bit.
You know, any devs listening out there that want us to check out your game. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's a tough one, right? Like, if it's that bad, if I'm in a game and somebody gives me a key, I'd just be like, listen, I don't think we're gonna review this. Like, it's just so it's just so
Yeah.
bad. Like, I just don't. I don't want to slam it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm paying money, then it's game on, right? Like, you know, if we can give like a solid game or something and some caveats, then that's good. But if it's just terrible, then you know, whatever. All right, last but not least, let's end on a high note, because I really like this game. So this is a Thrill of the Fight. It's by Sea Lost Interactive LLC. I think this is just one dude making this game. This is early. This is an early VR game. It came out on July 1st, 2016, almost 5 years ago. 5 years ago. I think I said 6 years. Yeah, 5 years ago. Wow. Okay.
I bought it the day it came out.
Half a decade ago. Wow. There you go. It is sitting at 96% positive on Steam. It's only $9.99. It's also on Quest. This is a boxing game. It is a boxing simulation, right? So there are other boxing games on Steam, like Knockout League, I believe it's called, and Creed. But those are arcade games. Those are arcade boxing games. Like Creed, for example, you have like a stamina meter. Like if you in Creed, if you just start throwing punches, your boxer will get tired, and the game artificially like slows you down. Where like right, it won't let you really kind of punch. This is a legit game in that there's no such thing. There's no stamina meter. Your stamina meter is your personal stamina meter, right? If you're in great shape, you can keep on throwing punches as hard as you can and as fast as you can, and the game's able to track what you're doing in terms of speed of punches and stuff like that. There's a lot of controls and controlling power, but it's going for realism, which is, you know, why I want to put on a VR headset. I don't want to feel like I'm in a game. I want to feel like I'm in this virtual reality, and I think this is why I really liked this game when I first got it, when I first got into VR back in 2017, and why I can throw a headset on today and still think this is great. I've played this game a lot, and I'm looking at my hours on record, and it's only 11 and a half hours because this is an intense game. Um, if you're hopping into it and you're not training as a boxer, maybe if you're super fit, you can last longer, but you'll play the game for like 3 rounds, and in like 10 minutes, you're gonna be exhausted. I think this is probably the number one best workout in VR. If you've got a better example, Justin, let me know. But there's that website, that VR website that actually ranks like fitness games, and I think this is the highest one in terms of like at least it was at one point in terms of like workout. And what I like about it, and what I like about VR, like I like being able to play a game and also be active to an extent, right? It's better than just sitting down, right? Like I feel better about myself. Not only did I play a game, but I did something good for myself. And this game is something that you can get in there, and you're boxing. There's opponents, and you're getting a workout at the same time. Now there's things like Box VR, which is a strictly a workout game, and in Box VR you just have these I don't know, boxes or these balls coming at you. You just punch it. I mean, it's just a workout thing. This is a boxing game that will give you a workout, and once you're in there and you're fighting somebody, you're fighting these virtual opponents, your brain just clicks and you forget you're playing a game, right? You're bobbing and weaving. You're not thinking about the fact that you're working out or burning calories or spending energy. You're just totally in the moment, in the flow, and I think that's fantastic. I think that's why this is definitely one of my favorite games. I think it's done well. I'm not a boxer, so I can't speak to how well it succeeds in mimicking real life boxing, but with that said, it impresses me, right? I feel like I'm boxing somebody, right? For what it's worth.
Yeah, do a YouTube video of you playing this game, and you're gonna get all the YouTube boxers commenting on your terrible form. That's what happens.
Yeah, I'm smart enough not to embarrass myself like that.
I embarrassed myself. Yeah, I embarrassed myself.
Well, it's nice of them to weigh in.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I think people who box respect this game. When I've scanned reviews and stuff, anything that I've read up on it, I think.
There's a real boxer that uses the game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, that's really impressive. Again, this is an early VR game. It's held up well. Boxing just works really well in VR. VR has tried to do melee combat with like swords, and that just doesn't work well because it hasn't figured out how to handle the weight, right, of holding an object. But punching works. Punching totally works, and I am surprised that with this game coming out in 2016 that we've not seen kind of a fully fledged, robust boxing game, because where this game falls apart, and falls apart is not fair, but this game has its limits. It's got, roughly something like maybe 8 opponents off the top of my head, something like that. But it's not like, what was it, Fight Night? Did you ever play that game on consoles?
Yeah.
Where you kind of have a career, and you're working yourself up to the championship. It doesn't have that. It has boxers you can progress through, but it's not a full-fledged game like that.
Yeah.
It's somewhere just like a step past a tech demo, right? It's got 8 opponents you can hop in and fight, but that's it. There's no real game or real world within this. And when I saw this game 3 or 4 years ago, I'm like, oh man, it's just a matter of time. Next year, a couple of years, somebody's gonna take this or buy this game out or figure out how to make a real boxing game. And again, Creed kind of tried to do that, but they're not. Creed's still like. Creed doesn't have it. First, Creed's arcadey, but it's still not a full-fledged game in like Fight Night kind of deal. So that's its limits. But again, it's $9.99, so this is kind of like a no-brainer, a steal price. I don't know. What do you want to jump on? I just did a lot of talking because I really like this game, so it's easy for me to go off on it. But
the last time I played it before today was 2018.
Yeah.
So then I played it today, just to prepare, and I was like, oh, okay, they've updated upgraded the graphics a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot more like there's like a heavy bag, a speed bag, a focus bag, some other stuff too. Like there's like training that you can do, but it's like you just go into it and you do it for a little bit, kind of thing. They're not like it's not like well at least in Creed when you do the training when you're in career mode it's like it has like a whole training montage thing.
Yeah.
Then based on how well you did on that, I guess maybe it seems like that kind of increases your power or something when you're actually playing. So that's one thing Creed has. But like you said, in Creed, you have that stamina issue. Most people hate that stamina issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't punch as much as you want. Yeah.
It's like almost everybody hates it, right? They don't want that. It's like, dude, it's like you missed the point, Servios.
Yeah.
We don't need a stamina thing. This is VR, right? We don't need these gamey elements in this.
Yeah.
Like you're living in this 2D world of gaming. Stop it. We got VR. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah. Well, but in this game today, I was just throwing wildly, like going nuts, and like I was beating dudes, but I didn't get, I didn't get very far. I got to some guy named like the Reverend, and I was still in the like the training ring. I mean, there was a crowd around, but it was still like the training room. I think I played this a long time ago, and like once you get far enough, like you end up being on like a real arena. I think.
There's bigger venues. Yeah, there's not a lot of venues. Like again, Creed. God, it's like I wish these two games would get married, right? Like and just make the best game. Like Creed had the production quality and graphics and some nice elements and stuff.
And the
but
music,
this is
the music of Creed.
This has the real VR mechanics. So this is the real deal. Like.
Mm-hmm. It feels better. The boxing feels better, but when the opponents get better, does the flailing not work anymore?
I don't know. Like I don't necessarily flail. Like I'm trying to box, right?
Okay.
Were you knocking down opponents or just winning?
I knocked down the last guy. It was like maybe it was Ugly Joe. I knocked him down. I was doing things like punching above. And hitting them on the top of the head.
Oh,
I was doing all sorts of shit. I would like hit him in the. I would be like body head, body head, body head. Could get him to put his hands down, and I would just do that stuff over and over. But like maybe those opponents just aren't good enough. Those early ones.
I don't know. I don't know if like trying to swing over and hit him on the head, if that's like cheesing it a little bit.
I was cheesing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's good to know. Like I never tried that. I don't try that. I just try to play it as kind of intended. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not much more to say about this game. I'm just really surprised with all the games coming out. This is something that I've identified that just works very well in VR. Works perfectly well, and I'm waiting for the next real boxing game.
Yeah, what I was trying to say was like because I could flail so much and I could just punch like crazy and like because you're not actually hitting something, it's like the problem with VR is like it's easy to flail your arms many times because you're not actually hitting something.
Well, what's weird though is the game knows how like when you throw like a weak punch, like if you're if you're really putting power behind your punches, then you can't flail. So like I don't know how you're able to get away with flailing because like even when you do the training, it knows how hard you're punching something. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you are you doing it in the video, I'll watch it. But
the videos I've done are of Creed. I haven't done. Somebody requested a video of Thrill of the Fight. But
you were just flailing in Thrill of the Fight and knocking people down.
I was doing both. I only got one knockdown in Thrill of the Fight today.
Okay.
So my flailing hits. I wasn't. So when I was doing the flailing, it didn't look like it was registering as much. Like I was going over his gloves and like tap on the top of his head, tap, just like and like smacking him. I was doing like a Nate Diaz. I don't know if you know Nate, the Diaz brothers in MMA. I was smacking them and backhanding him, just all dumb shit
Well,
like that.
it will give you feedback, and this was probably
Yeah.
when you played the game years ago, but today you might have noticed it. Like,
Uh huh.
when you make contact with them, there's like a
Yeah.
color to the punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Color.
it's red, like obviously you've landed like a pretty hard punch.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's yellow, it's like and like I think maybe it does green. Like so, if you're flailing, like you might be just like it's recognizing you're hitting him, but it should also recognize that you're not really putting any power behind your
Yeah.
punches.
Yeah. I saw yellow, but I don't think I saw any red.
And you can also adjust. I think the game either self adjusts or has some kind of baseline, but there's adjustments in there that you can kind of give yourself more power when you're actually punching.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that in there. I don't know how the default works, but yeah, I've only gotten very few knockdowns. I mean, but I am trying to do it the way I'm supposed to do it, right? Like I can always beat like the first few opponents without a problem.
I think I get tired or something, and then I'm just like, fuck that, fuck this. Like if I'm trying to play for real, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's legit though. Like you just like
Yeah.
you go in there and you start flailing, you'll get tired. So I try to like
Yeah.
try to time a good punch to knock them down or
Yeah.
put power behind the right one. Which again, I think what makes this game a really good game.
I actually don't like I like these games, but I don't like working out in VR because I don't like sweating in the headset.
Yeah, dude, I know. I hear
Yeah.
you. This is like I feel like we don't have a good solution.
Yeah.
There are things that can be done, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on that. I don't like sweating in VR.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on my $1,000 index, right? Like so
Yeah.
I've got a VR cover, so I'll swap the faceplate. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right? So that will at least so I'm not sweating into the fabric part. I take the faceplate off. But then there's nothing really to swap in on the back. So I gotta like kind of put like maybe like a towel there. And now I'm spending extra time trying to just get into the damn game, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm with you on that. The VR headset's so expensive. I don't ideally like sweating into it. There are ways to mitigate it. Um I almost think it's like, oh, maybe I'll just buy a Quest, right? And I could play
Mm-hmm.
these like workout games. But then the Quest is like not that comfortable. It's not that great. So I don't know. I sort of make do, but I'll play the game for like 10, 15 minutes at a time, right? Kind of go hard, and then I'll like work myself up. I'm like, okay, I'm good, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
I better get the
Doesn't
hell out of here before I'm just have it running on my like on the screen. Sweating
Oculus
on it.
has done this big ad campaign about fitness in VR. Like they put up
Yeah.
billboards and all sorts of shit everywhere, like newspaper ads. And so, is your girlfriend doing like fitness VR? Is that what she's doing?
No,
No.
she.
Okay.
I mean, no joke. She works out probably at least an hour a day every day, if not more.
Mhm.
But she doesn't do like. She's tried like some of the VR fitness, and she's just kind of like, I don't think this movement's right.
Mm-hmm.
She, yeah, she's not into that. I think me as somebody who's like finds it hard to motivate myself to work out or something, like it needs to be gamified, right? Like I need to trick myself, Justin,
Right.
into working out. Like accident,
Okay.
I like, oh my god, I accidentally worked out, right? Like, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so anything to trick myself into working out, I tend to respond positively to in these games.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess to wrap it up, I would give this game, because it's $9.99. I would give it a 9. I think it is lacking in that it could have an actual real robust game, like again Fight Night back in the the 2000s. That game was great. Some progression, some kind of story, something where I'm kind of rising up but hell, man, this game is quintessential VR. This is why I'm into VR, because it immerses me into reality, and there's no bullshit, and I'm just enjoying it. I think it's really well done. So hopefully we get a full-fledged boxing game, but this is kind of like a no-brainer to buy for $9.99 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 8, only because like it still to me has kind of an old VR feel. Maybe that's because I bought it in 2016, but just it still to me feels like an older game.
It is. The sad thing is we should be, 5 years later,
Mm-hmm.
we should have a full-fledged robust game, and this game should seem old, and it is. I think, and that's kind of the sad state that we're in, where somebody didn't take what was there in 2016. It's like, good job, single dev. Like, you showed us the way and showed us how it can be done. Now we've got a studio of 20, 30 people. We're gonna make a legit boxing game, but that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. I think my 9 is sort of generous, and it shouldn't be a 9 in 2021. But unfortunately, with everything out there and in this current state, it's that's where it stands.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is I would give Creed like a 7.5 because it's the artificial stamina bullshit. Even though like there's the slickness and production quality to it.
Creed has multiplayer.
It does. I played it like in the first or second day, and it seemed like, and you probably can't find a match these days, but it does have multiplayer.
Yeah. I don't know if it's cross-platform. I have no idea.
Yeah, but all right. Well, we'll wrap things up. I'll just say in closing, if you're enjoying this podcast, one way that you can support it is by giving us a review in iTunes. That the more reviews we have, the more likely other people are able to find this podcast. So trying to grow the audience as best as we can and reach people and spread the gospel of VR. Trying to Justin's taking the bullet and playing some of the shittiest games he can find, so you don't have to. You don't have to. So
you're welcome.
Anything in closing, Justin, before we see everybody next month?
I put some upcoming games here. There's a game called Everslot that's coming out. It says in Steam, end of June. Everslot, not Everslut. I would be cool with that game too. It's Everslot, Slaught. So it looks like a medieval, really fast-paced, crazy medieval dungeon crawler, combat, murder everything game. So
I mean, like the way you should write descriptions for games because that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
It looks good graphics.
Yeah.
Is it multiplayer?
I doubt it.
No, single player. Okay.
So then Sniper Elite VR is coming out July 8th. That's the biggest game I know of coming out soon. Sniper Elite VR. That's multi-platform. Then Tetris Effect Connected is coming out in July on Steam. That came out on like the EGS, that game store. But I think this is the first time it's going to come to Steam, and it's multiplayer Tetris in VR.
Cool.
So then after the fall, and then Lone Echo 2, and I Expect You to Die 2, they all just say summer. And Walkabout is going to come out in summer.
Yeah.
On Steam, and I don't know of anything else worth mentioning, but I'm sure something's going to pop up.
Yeah, I don't need. I mean, we've got After the Fall still says summer 2021.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get that game. Gotta be nice if that game was good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not gonna hold my breath for that. I'm looking over my list. I don't necessarily see anything. I don't see anything else to really get hyped over.
I have a ton of games on my wish list that just say like coming soon, or they say 2021, or they say 2022.
I wish listed a game called Kill the King, which is like a co-op game. It looks like it could be fun. Who knows? Anyways, that is the show. That's for June. That's episode 23. We'll see you guys and gals next month. Thanks for listening. Take care.